Welcome to Average Joe's Pool. Today we have another in our series of DIY pool table installation videos. And in this video we're going to be showing you how to fit liners to the slate edges of your pockets. So let's have a look. So first of all, what is a pocket liner? Well, a pocket liner can be anything. Lots of people refer to these as pocket liners. Basically anything that lines kind of any side of the pocket technically is a pocket liner. But the type of pocket liner we're talking about is actually putting a piece of material of some kind along the inside edge here of our slate face. Now, why would you actually want to do that? Well, there's actually a couple of main reasons as to why you'll often see this done. The first reason is from a kind of a tidy perspective for the installation. A lot of people make it out of a piece of the matching cloth, and so you'll cut a piece of cloth to the correct height, and what people will often do is actually cut it from the top edge of the slate there, just where it curves down. They'll do it from there all the way down to the bottom of your timber here. And very often the reason that's done is that when the cloth is fitted and you're pulling these tabs around, when you cut up you sometimes get the little exposed cut marks, and if you've got a matching cloth underneath it, of course, then that makes the little cut marks less obvious. But of course they are still there, and that's not the best way of doing it, and we'll be finishing the pockets properly during this installation, but that's something that you often see, a bit of cloth on the bottom just to help to disguise the cut marks in the cloth. And the second reason for adding some facing onto here is more from a technical perspective, and it's actually to help prevent wear, mainly to the pool table cloth. The reason being is when a ball comes in, it comes in quite hard into the pocket, it can rebound off of the back of the pocket, come back and hit the slate edge here, especially if you've got these kind of drop pockets, because they don't actually end up being very far away from this. So the gap here is actually relatively small, and so it's quite easy for a ball to come, hit the back of the pocket, and then come back and hit this facing. Now, of course, that can have a slight wear effect on the balls, but far more importantly is actually your cloth. The reason being, especially if you've got any little sharp edges that are across here, if that ball comes back from a hard shot and goes back in and hits the cloth, especially like I say if you've got a sharp edge there, it can actually start to put little cuts into your cloth, and of course that can be really annoying and also really expensive. So that's another reason why people will often fit these. However, they're not always fitted. It is completely optional, and there are no rules in the WPA specifications for linings on this side of the pocket. When they refer to pocket linings, they say that the ball's got to come in and the pocket liner has to deflect the ball downward. But what they're talking about again is this kind of a pocket liner rather than a liner on the face of your slate here. So option number one is to get a piece of off-cut cloth and literally just cut a strip that covers that area there, and glue that on using spray glue. And that's a nice, clean and easy way to do it. The only small disadvantage of that is when you've got your cloth on there, when we fit the cloth, as you'll see later on in the process, we're going to put a little bit of spray glue onto the surface here just to help keep these tabs down, keep everything nice and flush with the slate. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't fit them, because if you've got this nice smooth surface and you put a bit of spray glue onto there, when you bring these tabs down, you start to smooth things out. You've got a really nice smooth surface to work from, and of course it sticks pretty well having cloth directly onto slate. However, when you've got something that's more porous, like a cloth that's there, when you put your spray glue over the top of it, then of course you're essentially trying to stick one piece of cloth on top of another piece of cloth, and that's not as efficient as obviously sticking it directly to the slate. So as an alternative to using a cloth, you can also use other types of materials. People use all different types of stuff. You can use felt, you can use leather. I'd recommend against using rubber, because of course rubber has quite a lot of rebound to it. So again, if that ball comes in, bounces off the back of your pocket and comes back in, it's going to rebound off at quite a hard rate. So you want something that's actually going to help reduce the bounce rather than increase it. So you don't want something that's going to create more bounce than it would if it just hit the slate. So adding something like rubber, you might end up getting more of a rebound off of it, and that could throw the ball back out of the pocket than you would if you had nothing there at all. However, a good alternative to rubber, you've got this sort of stuff, which is actually it's like a neoprene, and all this is just a shelf and drawer liner. You can pick this up from it came from the dollar store, and you can pick an entire roll this up for $2 or $3. And this is, like I said, it's a type of neoprene, so this helps kill the bounce of the ball. And just to give you a quick demonstration of this, I'll grab a cue ball. feel how much kind of bounce that it has, do exactly the same thing on a piece of cloth. So you just have a cloth on there. Is quite effective at deadening the impact. Now if we use rubber, this is a decent type of rubber. If you were to use rubber, not too bad. And then you get into the neoprene. So you can see how effective that material is at helping to kill the rebound from the ball. Another advantage of using our neoprene, it's got a fairly smooth surface to it. So if I glue it down in this direction here, then when I come to use my spray glue and I bring the cloth down, I've got something that's reasonably nice and smooth, comparable to our slate surface certainly, to put our kind of effectively our second layer of glue on. There'll be glue on the underneath and then glue on the top of it to bring down the cloth and smooth it out. As I mentioned before, you can see this is kind of an off blue colour. It's not obviously going to match the colour of our cloth, but it doesn't matter. We're not trying to hide cuts. We're going to properly add a pocket trim at the end of this so we get a nice smooth finish. So it doesn't matter what's behind our cloth here. This could be fluorescent orange. It really doesn't matter because you won't be able to see it at all when we add the proper trim to finish these pockets. So as I mentioned, it's completely up to you what type of material you use here, or of course you can choose not to use any material at all. But those are kind of all of the most common options for doing this. And the only other thing to note when it comes to finding the material that you need to use, you need to make sure obviously it's not too thick. You don't want to be putting anything that's going to bring this pocket out. You want it nice and smooth, so you want something that's like 1 to 2 millimeters in thickness maximum. So next we're going to cut our material to fit our facing here. As I mentioned before, if you are fitting a cloth, then you might want to come from just under the edge here, just where the curve finishes, taking that right down to the bottom of the timber there. But a better option, especially if you want to add the proper finishing trims across the bottom, is to do it from the very bottom of the slate edge, finishing flush with the bottom side of the slate there, so we leave the wood completely exposed. Another thing to bear in mind when you're measuring and cutting these is how high up you want them to be. You've got to make sure that's not going to interfere with the incoming ball. Of course, you've got that curved lip there, the ball's going to come in, it's going to roll over that curved edge and fall into the pocket. So you don't want to put this up too high because obviously then it might interfere with the incoming ball. So you want to kind of fit it ideally towards the end of the curve. So if you can get it just when it starts to become flat again, or just a millimetre or so over it, then that's absolutely perfect there. So I've just made a quick cardboard template here that I can just take off and put on each of the 4 corners as I go. I like to work tidy whenever I can, so just mask it up so I can get the glue only where I want it. Then just get your Super 77. I'm going to put a thin layer of glue on the face here. So now just wait for the glue to go a little bit tacky and then you can stick your facing straight on. And then I'm going to align the bottom of my facing here along the edge here where the bottom of the slate meets our wood backing. And press that down firmly into place. So that's one now completed, so I'm going to go ahead and do this on the other 3 corners. When it comes to your centre pockets, obviously you do have a larger radius, it's like a full semicircle to do, so it's much steeper, but the principle is exactly the same as this. So that's all you need to do to get these fitted. So a little optional extra finish for you, especially if you're using a neoprene type of facing like we are here. If you want to get rid of this this kind of lip that we've got across the top edge, what we can do is we can actually shape that a little bit to match the contour of the pocket. Likewise, if you're actually trying to solve a particular problem, you can do this by bringing your neoprene up higher and then also shaping it in the same way that we're going to show here. But we've got ours set just level with the bottom curve, so I'm just going to take that little top edge off just a little bit. Now to do that, just grab a sanding block. You want to do it at like a 45-degree angle. And we're going to come very, very lightly. You're not going to damage the slate because we're literally just stroking it along. This neoprene's quite soft. This will sand super, super easily. The slate's very hard to sand. Just remember, keep it at that 45-degree angle. You just see it start to take a little bit of shape there. Just starting to get a little bit of shape to it now. And there you go. So as you can see, what we've done is just add a little bit more shape to our top edge there, just as it comes in over our lip. So don't go crazy with it, just a slight shape like that. You're going to smooth all this out anyway when you pull your cloth over it. Sometimes it's nice just to finish off that lip just a tiny bit. And of course, just be careful, you've got all these little bits of the neoprene here where I've been sanding. Make sure you blow that away from the centre of your table onto your floor, ready to be vacuumed up later. We don't want that ending up underneath our cloth. And so that's how you fit your pocket liners. Now if you do need any more information on how to install a pool table, we have done a full pool table installation video, as well as dedicated videos for things such as levelling your frame, levelling your slates, fitting your pool tablecloth, reclothing your rails, all that good stuff. And all those videos can be found on our YouTube channel, and we'll add links for those in the video description below. And we always ask, if this video has been helpful for you, can take 1 second out of your busy schedule just to be sure to hit that like button for us. It really does help us out. Likewise, if you are interested in seeing more of our pool content, please be sure to subscribe and switch on notifications. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.